Hello, Caleb Nichols here today. I wanted to share with you one of our books. Bob Sanders wrote a book called Gideon, a Mighty Man of Valour. If you've never heard of either, that's fine. Most people on this channel probably at least know a lot of the Bible stories, if not nearly all of them. But I will explain a little bit. Bob Sanders, I've met him. He's a pretty good guy. I interviewed him a while back. That'll go up on our Nichols Progress YouTube channel here soon. He's written like 15 different commentary books, and this one's on Gideon. It's pretty thin, easy to read. Let's see, it has close to 200 pages. And it's a really good overview of the life of Gideon and some of the things we can learn from it. He starts off talking about the background of Israel at the time, and I'll go ahead and just go over it. It'd be a good overview if you've been a while or if you've never heard of it before. The Gideon is a character, was a real person in the book of Judges in the Bible. And that was the place, it was after Moses and the Israelites came out of Egypt, and then they settled into Israel. That generation passed away and a new generation rose up, which forgot all about the blessings of God and how their ancestors had been helped by God to free them from slavery. But he continues Gideon's story in the book of Judges, and it talks about how all the Israelites would fall away for a while. They would serve other gods, do whatever. The phrase repeated throughout the book of Judges is, every man did that which was right in his own eyes. And when everybody does what they think is right, then, well, very few people end up doing right. It starts, Gideon's story starts off with him threshing wheat in a secluded place, because they are occupied by the Midianites. Pretty much, but they've conquered Israel. Israel has to, give them some of their food, or they'll be killed. And Gideon, he starts out, he sounds kind of cowardly when you first introduced, but gradually over time, God pulls out the mighty man within him through different things throughout his life, and in the end, he, conquers the Midianites, kicks them out of Israel. And I'll tell you the general story. God had told him to start an army, so he did, and the army was too big. I can't remember the exact number right now, but there was thousands, and God said, that's too big, you need a smaller army. And God was sent them through 2 or 3 tests, and eventually the army got down to only 300 men. You can't fight a big army with 300 men, that's impossible. That's supposed to be impossible. But Gideon did it. In the middle of the night, he surrounded the Midianite camp. The camp was thousands upon thousands. It says has the number of grasshoppers. Grasshoppers, at night, you hear tons of them from the woods. You can't count them all. So that's what the Bible says, that's how many there were. And in the middle of the night, he and his 300 men surrounded them. And each man had a clay pitcher, and they broke the pot and then held up a torch and yelled, "The sword of the Lord and of Gideon." And then the Midianites started killing each other because they thought, it was the middle of the night, they couldn't see anything. They started stabbing at each other. And the survivors, the survivors of Midian, Gideon and his other men killed off. And yeah, and Brother Bob Sanders talks about that and some of the other things we can learn from it. And also a quick nugget, my dad once mentioned that he heard another man say, I'm terrible ending I started to a story, but anyway, look at the end of the book to find out what the author is, what his main point is, what's the objective. And I'll go ahead and read that for you. He talks about how Gideon had a great start, but in the end he made some mistakes after his success. He didn't, the things God did for him, the spiritual blessings and just the great things, he did not take advantage of it to use it to help his people. You know, he lived for 40 years after the conquering of Midian, and after his death, everyone forgot about who Gideon was. And this is what he says. When we come to the final act, we are confronted with a painful truth. Even when given the proper ingredients to bake a cake, it is no guarantee that the end results will be a memorable meal. Gideon was given all the proper ingredients to put together a memorable life that would minister to the saints and magnify the sovereign God. Gideon stepped to the front and placed the people on the path of deliverance, only to be detoured by a place of darkness. As the curtain closes on the final act, we discover that what we thought would be a spiritual fairy tale was really a secular tragedy. Gideon entered the theater of life rich in faith and poor in finances. But in the final act, he would exit the theater rich in finances, but poor in faith. A situation that makes it difficult to live happily ever after. Yeah. Gideon ends, there's a few things that happen in the end. That it's not too descriptive, but it mentions how he has many wives, and so he has 70 sons, and great to have kids, but he followed the practices of the other people there around them at that time. He didn't want to be Israel's king, but he still acted like royalty back then. Married a bunch of wives, have a bunch of kids, and you can sort of extrapolate that whenever somebody wanted to get something done nearby, all they had to get was Gideon's approval. And he wasn't he wasn't their king, but he was still royalty back then. It's practically what it was. So you can, if you decide you want to get this book, great. We have it on our website. I'll put a link in the description. But if that's all you need, then great. Hopefully we'll see you in the next one. Alrighty, well, hope you enjoy this video and all the others we have on our channel. We'll see you again next time. Bye.